All right, and now I'm going to take you over sort of just my bullish thesis on our newest acquisition, which is African Rainbow Capital. And funny enough, actually, what actually sparked me looking into African Rainbow Capital, I was going through all of the top 40 JSE companies at the end of the year in 2020, and whilst going through them, there were a few things that stood out for me. And whilst researching African Rainbow Capital, I think the first thing that you need to know is that a significant person who actually owns, or is one of the bigger owners in African Rainbow Capital, is the big man himself, Patrice Motsepe. You'd actually see African Rainbow Capital is pretty much similar to his main company, African Rainbow Minerals. And that, I think, for me was the first thing that made me stand up and take notice at African Rainbow Capital, to be like, okay, cool, I see this. And, then there was a tweet I saw recently by another gentleman. I forget his name, but he does finance things. I'm sure I'll leave his handle in the description, or the tweet in description. But he spoke about how Sanlam actually plans on buying some of African Rainbow Financial Services, or part of that business, which continued to spark my interest. Now, that part of the business is not directly linked to African Rainbow Capital, but it still made me stand up and actually look for a second, about them. And first thing that I always do is I first always take it over to MoneyWeb, when I need to look at a particular company. Again, MoneyWeb doesn't pay me, but I think MoneyWeb for a South African investor is probably the best site that you can be on. I trust their data and the information. So yeah, MoneyWeb, if you can see, their current price is R4.10. What does that mean? So far, it means nothing. When you look at the open, it opened at R4.45, meaning that since it opened, it's lost, call it about 35 cents, which is not the best. The previous day it closed at 46 cents, but the range, it's somewhere between R4 and 45. So 45 was the upper level there. And if you come on over to the graph, this is actually the intraday graph, so you'll see how it's been trading so far. It's literally from that 45 gone down, and it's still pretty much going down. If you look at it though, over the last 7 days, I think it actually has improved. As you'll see here, it says it's gone up by about 2.76%, which really means nothing. These first few parts of the graph we don't really look at, because we're not in it for 2-3 days. We're not day traders, we are long-term investors. We can really start looking at it from 90 days to say, okay, from October until now. October was R2.62. It's come up quite a bit in that period of time, by about 56%, which is quite good. If you look at it over the last 6 months though, again, trading at about the R3 range in July, it does come down to almost R2.70, but pretty much makes its way back up to this R4 position. If we look at it over the last year, you'll see that as of January last year, it was at about R4.33, in and about that range, and we're pretty much back to that area, that region, more or less. So I would say that currently it's trading at what I'd say is it's fair value price, because for me, where a company was last year January is pretty much where they need to be. Things did start to actually go down as the virus got worse and worse. I mean, they got to a low of almost about R1.95, which is really bad, but I'm glad that they survived. They pretty much recovered and pushed. They ebbed and flowed throughout the year, and it's like they're making their way back up. We look at it though over the last 3 years, and I actually think African Rainbow Capital was established in 2015, so there might not be as much data on it, but yeah, they've got a high of about close to about R8 per share in 2017, and it's pretty much been a consistent sort of downwards trend on this one. If you can see, they just keep hitting lower lows and or lower highs rather than lower lows, because they just have that lower low there and this one here, which is obviously the virus. But I do see that they're trending overall downwards, but it's beginning to curve back up and make its way back up. So we'll actually have to see over time how it goes. If you take it on over here to the side, you'll see their market cap, or market capitalization, which essentially means if you take a company's price and you multiply it by the number of issued shares, which is 1,317,774,987. Ooh, it's a lot. Yeah, if you multiply those two, you get up to this 5 billion number up here, which is essentially that if you take all of the shares that have been issued, what's the value of the total company. So that's the market cap of African Rainbow Capital. EPS is just the earnings per share. 12 earnings per share. It's a bit of an arbitrary number, but it's there. There are people who use it. The PE ratio is price over earnings, which is about 34.17, which for me is a bit high. I generally like to go for companies with a much lower PE ratio, but it's okay as well, you know. It's some of these rules are there just to guide you. It's not necessarily that you have to follow them to the T. You know, I mean, if you look at for example Tesla, for me, Tesla, at the time I got involved, Tesla wasn't making a profit, and for me personally, that's a big no-no, that you can't speculate on a company that much and think that you'll get a good return on investment. But I think I understood Tesla a bit better than some of the other people out there, and even now there are people who are still quite bearish on Tesla, and I can understand them why they're bearish on Tesla. I do think Tesla is a bit rich right now, but I do understand as well what Tesla has going for them, and it's why I stay invested in them, because I don't think it's over. But anyway, I digress. This is not a Tesla video. So that's the first thing I do. I first check on MoneyWeb to see what's up with that. But then the next thing that I do is actually I come on over, you know, to the website, and you go onto the investor relations page, and you know, you just get their last financial results and see what you get there. It's quite a long document. I'm not really going to go over it because I mean there's several things that they speak about throughout it, but just some of the highlights to say that the share increased. I'm guessing this is the value. The intrinsic portfolio value is also increased ever so slightly. The amount of cash that's in the fund has gone down. That's a good thing if you didn't know. Rain has a fair value increase, which actually hints to one of the big reasons why I'm a part of African Rainbow Capital. Time Bank, the second big reason why I'm a part, has signed 1.9 million customers, and yeah, that's that. So if we actually scroll down, you know, just to this acquisitions portion, just to see what they have in their portfolio, I think the biggest portion of their portfolio of African Rainbow Capital, of what they own, is Alexander Forbes. And Alexander Forbes, I think we all know, is a financial services company. I think they do, you know, insurance. They have life insurance, pensions, and things like that for companies. For some funny reason, I always remember them as the people who audited idols. You know, whenever the idols results would come, they'd be like, it's been audited by Alexander Forbes. So that's what I remember them for. But yeah, Alexander Forbes, I think, is one of their biggest investments. And maybe I actually didn't explain what African Rainbow Capital does. Essentially, they are a company that invests in other companies, and you are now sharing in sort of the profits or the proceeds of that. So it's pretty much like a fund of funds, or like a managed fund in some ways, but they're actively more involved in a lot of the decisions in the business. It's not that they're just shareholders and they fold their arms with some of the companies. Others, they pretty much just watch and fold their arms, like Alexander Forbes, who has their own management and their own structures who are running things. But then they've got Time Bank, which if you don't know what Time Bank is, you clearly must not shop at Pick n Pay. But yeah, Time Bank is essentially just you know, a brand new digital bank that's entered into South Africa. I think it was already existing before. I don't know in which country, but yeah, Time Bank, which I think is doing quite well. I think the idea is quite good. Digital banking is the future, and it is the way that we need to go. You know, they've got a bit of stiff competition from Discovery in this space. But the difference between Time Bank and Discovery is that Discovery is actually more of an upper class or middle to upper class you know, type of bank account because of their fees, whereas Time Bank, you know, is more for the lower income people or person. You know, pretty much going for the same customer base as Capitec. And I understand Capitec has actually also now entered into the digital banking space where, you know, they offer an account that's just purely digital. You don't have any physical bank card or so on and so forth. Actually got Crops PLC, which Crops, one of the things that they do is actually they do grow some sort of plant or crops or whatever, hence the name. But you know, one of the big things that you'll see is that in Ilansfontein they've actually got a phosphate project, which is a facet of mining. So I think that's the business that I don't fully understand, but it is quite a good one. I'm led to believe after watching their AGM. Below that, then we've got Rain, which I think Rain is a very big one, particularly at this time. If you don't know what Rain is you know, a new data-only cellular network, which personally for me I think is a great idea because you know, it's been difficult for new players to enter the cellular market because you just can't match your MTNs, your Vodacoms, you know, with the infrastructure that they already have in place, with, you know, just all the things that they're doing that are working for their good. Whereas Rain, I think, is sort of trying to just corner and tackle one particular market because they've seen that we're always complaining that data is expensive and so on and so forth, and they've sort of come up with a way to solve that issue by their actual uncapped plan, which I think is a really good plan, that you can have unlimited data, you know, between their off-peak hours, and you only pay 250 Rand a month, which I think is a really good deal. Particularly if you're someone who doesn't have internet at home, I think that is quite a good thing to be going for, and it's one of the reasons why I'm quite bullish on this, because I think Rain is going to do really well. I don't think they have a full controlling interest in it, but I know that they've got a significant amount that African Rainbow Capital does have a say on what goes on, more or less, in the company. And yeah, that's all I'll say about Rain. Then, you know, there are other parts of their businesses that are not spoken about in depth here. You know, they own a lot of smaller businesses within this who are all doing well, you know, in their own right. You know, for example, one that people might know, I'm not sure if we know InfoSlips, but there's actually a company called InfoSlips that you know, they also own. So I think they've got quite a good spread across the market of different things that they're doing. And yeah, based off of those two things, I pretty much decided that, listen, African Rainbow Capital actually is quite a good company to be involved in. The only thing about it is that I don't think it's going to give us the actual returns that we're looking for in order for us to reach this 200% mark. I think as part of our overall portfolio, I still think it is quite a good company to be involved in, and maybe in other parts of my portfolio I will actually double down on African Rainbow Capital, because I do see them, you know, getting back to that 8 Rand a share mark within the next 2 to 3 years. But whether they'll be there by the end of the year is a completely different story, because that's essentially what we need. We need stocks to 1x, 2x, you know, in the next period of time in order for us to reach our goals. Yeah, so that's what my feelings or my sentiments are on African Rainbow Capital, and just, you know, just a short introduction as to how I actually go over and select my stocks. I realize it's been a long video, but I do need to say that none of what I say is actually financial advice. You know, it's more for entertainment and educational purposes. If you do seek financial advice, please go find someone who's a professional, not me. I'm just a dude on the internet. You should know by now not to trust dudes on the internet. Yeah, and I think that's all that I have for you guys today. I hope it was a good one. One thing I do want to say, and it's a reward for staying towards the end, is that I am doing a giveaway this year. It's a very simple one. If I reach 50,000 subscribers, I will give a single person 50,000 Rand towards their trading account, and they can do with it what they please. So they can invest it, they can eat the money, whatever the case is. All I need is 50,000 subscribers by the end of 2021, which I think is a good deal personally. But I won't just leave it at that. What I'll actually do is say, you know, for every milestone event that we reach, I will give someone away that equivalent amount of money. So when we reach 5,000 subscribers, which is the first milestone, I'll give someone 5,000 Rand. When we reach 10,000 subscribers, I'll give someone 10,000 Rand. When we reach 20,000, 20,000 Rand, 40,000, or 40,000 subscribers, 40,000 Rand, and then the big one at the end of the year, 50 for 50. So if I was you, I would start subscribing, getting people you know to watch and also subscribe, so we can hit that magical number of 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Anyway, it's been your boy, Pro MG Money. I hope it's been a good one. Peace.